And you're back on the Boom Boom Room, 1240 WBBW, 96.7 WLLF. Throughout the country via your favorite listening app. And ladies and gentlemen, what a night it's going to be. Saturday, December 6th at the Robbins Theater. A true rock and roll legend is coming to town. 23 gold singles, 9 platinum albums, over 100 million records sold across the world. Hit after hit, all in one night. I'm talking about Tommy James and the Shondells. Get your tickets exclusively right now at robbinstheater.com. That's robbinstheater.com. Tommy James and the Shondells, Saturday, December 6th at the Robbins Theater. Let's turn it over to Ray Mancini.
Tommy, welcome to the Boom Boom Room.
How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you.
Listen, I'm a big fan of yours, too, and it's a great honor to speak with you.
Thank you. That's so kind of you. I appreciate it, man. This really, I'm such an honor. Now, real fast. Most people, Tommy James and the Shondells. Real fast. I was always wondering, where did the name the Shondells come from? Is that a street, a town? How did that come about?
Well, basically, it's a name I made up in high school. It's in study hall, as a matter of fact, when I was, I guess 15 or so. We had, my band was already together. I'm talking about back in Niles, Michigan,
right.
And we had a group called the Tornadoes, and when we signed a couple of little deals for, a couple of record deals back in junior high and high school. I had a record out when I was 14, and then when I was 16, we recorded Hanky Panky, which ended up being our first hit.
Yeah.
So we changed our name right then, and I just kind of thought about it, and I liked the Shondells. It just kind of sounded effervescent, sounded musical, and so back then anything with an ELLS on the end, was a possibility.
That's right.
So at any rate, long story short, we changed our name to the Shondells, and that became our official name of our cover band back in the very early 60s.
Well, you just said you had, I see you were with the Echoes. And then
That's right.
Tom and the Tornadoes.
That's right.
And then you became the Shondells. Wow.
That's right.
Yeah,
you
man.
Did your homework.
Yes, I did. Well, first of all, a lot of people, I didn't know, and you just talked about Niles, Michigan, but you were actually born in Dayton, Ohio.
That is correct.
But you were raised in Niles, Michigan.
That is right. Born in Dayton, Ohio. My father was in the hotel business, and Dayton was one of the hotels that he managed, and so, it was kind of like being an Army brat.
Yeah. That makes sense. You move around where he goes.
Right.
Let's just go a little bit about your playlist there, right? So Hanky Panky was your first hit, right? You just said 16 years old?
It was a record that we recorded, my cover band, the Shondells, back in, I was 16 years old.
Wow.
I was a junior in high school, and it was one of the 4 sides we did for this little label in Michigan. And so, it kind of came and went. We had no distribution, so, it was a local hit, but that was about all. And when I graduated from high school in 65, I took my band on the road, and we played up through the Midwest in clubs.
Sure.
And so in early 66, I'm playing this dumpy little club in Janesville, Wisconsin, and right in the middle of my 2 weeks, the guy goes belly up. The IRS shut him down for not paying his taxes.
Man.
So we got sent back home and feeling like real losers, but that's how the good Lord works,
right.
Because as soon as I got home, I got the call from Pittsburgh that changed my life. It seems that Pittsburgh local radio bootlegged 80,000 copies of Hanky Panky and sold them all. And we were sitting at number 1, only in America this could happen, sitting at number 1 in the city of Pittsburgh. So they tracked me down, and of course I happened to be home because of the club owner going broke. And so, like I say, that's how God works. I just was told that Hanky Panky was a hit in Pittsburgh. I went there, and sure enough, it was sitting at number one, and that's literally how my career started. I picked up a local group in Pittsburgh, became the new Shondells, and we went to New York and sold the master to, it ended up being Roulette Records, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah. I know a little bit about Roulette Records. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget we're listening to the Boom Boom Room with the great Tommy James from Tommy James and the Shondells, and the great Tommy James. Now, you've been traveling. How long you been traveling? Doing solo as a solo
about
artist?
106 years.
Yeah. See,
well, basically, the Shondells and I were together throughout the 60s, and then starting in the 70s, really with records like Dragging the Line and I'm Coming Home. The Shondells and I went our separate ways.
Right.
We've remained friends all these years, but we just aren't. The original group and I were only together for about 4 years.
That's not very long at all. Yeah, it's not very long.
No, it isn't. And the group that's with me now, touring, has been with me, since the 70s, really.
But now, some of the biggest hits. Let's talk about some of the biggest hits. Hanky Panky, we just talked about. You were like 16 years old when that came out. Sweet Cherry Wine.
I Think We're Alone Now.
I Think We're Alone. That's of course, that's, for me, that's my song when I think of Tommy James Shondell, I Think We're Alone Now. But Mony Mony, that's it.
Mony Mony came out then in 68.
What does that mean, Mony Mony?
Well, it's really an interesting story. Sounds like it was made up by a press agent. But when I went in the studio in early 68, and we were putting together some old-sounding classic rock, and even before it was called classic rock. We were looking for sort of throwback record to the early 60s, like a Louie Louie or, one of those type of records, California Sun. Just something that, put everybody out on the dance floor.
Right.
Well, by 68, everybody was too stoned to be dancing much. So, but we really wanted to put sort of a classic rock sounding thing, a party rock thing together. So we went in the studio and we just started fooling around and did 3 or 4 verses of, 3-chord rock and roll. And it was sounding pretty good. And we put the drums in, and that sounded even better. And so the bottom line was that we were going in, we had the track completely finished, and we had the song written except for the title. And the title had to be, we were looking for like a Sloopy or, some sort of nonsensical name. And Richie Cordell and I just couldn't come up with anything. Everything sounded so stupid. So we threw our guitars down. We're in the middle of New York City at my apartment. And we go out on my terrace, light up a cigarette, and we look up into the night sky. And the first thing we see is the Mutual of New York Insurance Company sign. Wow. And it's a true story. And we just looked at each other because it would flash, Mony, and then the dollar sign in the middle of the O, and give you the temperature and the time. And so we just started cracking up laughing because that was we both saw it at the same time. It was the perfect name for the song, and that's how it came. It's an analogy for Mutual of New York, and we just call it Mony Mony. That became the name of the song.
Oh, Mutual of New York. That's about that.
Isn't that crazy?
Mutual Mony Mony.
I often have said if we'd have been looking in the other direction, we were so desperate, we might have called the thing, Pan Am or Hotel Taft. I don't know.
Oh, man, how about that? The one song that has been, I don't know, for me, I think it's been sung, it's been redone by so many groups. It's been sampled with this Crystal Blue Persuasion.
Sure.
That song is like, it's like timeless. Well, how did that come up?
Probably, of the hits, that's probably my favorite song to do. It was really hard producing the record. It was really a strange kind of story. I got the title. Another example of, being on the lookout for titles. Some kid came up to me after we had played a college down in Atlanta. And this nerdy-looking kid came up with the thick glasses and everything right out of the movies. And he comes up with this poem called Crystal Persuasion. And I thought that was an interesting combination of words, and I took a look at it as it was about the Bible, about the book of Revelation in the Bible.
Wow.
And so we took it, and we didn't use the exact words of his poem, but Mike Vale and I then wrote the song. Eddie, our guitar player, came up with the little, flamenco guitar riff in there, and we wrote the song in about 2 hours. I needed an extra word. We put in the word blue, so it ended up Crystal Blue Persuasion, and took it back, and we made the record. But when we listened to the final mix, it was totally overproduced. And we had too many instruments. It wasn't the song. We wrote this light, airy song, and it ended up being this very thick, heavy production, and we didn't dig it. So we spent the next month or so sort of unproducing the record and pulling stuff out and seeing what worked. So we ended up with just the little flamenco guitar, a bongo drum, a little trickling organ, and my electric guitar and the bass. We took out the drums. We took out 3 or 4 keyboards. We took out a couple of guitars. Till we got it exactly right. And we had, it was a hard record to produce. Sounds so free and easy, but it was one of the toughest records that we ever did.
Man, I mean, it's just a great name, and I thought you were going to tell me something like, guys hit, one too many hits on the bong, and then you said, "Hey, Crystal Blue Persuasion." hey, that sounds.
No, that was really a really sort of semi-religious song.
Yeah, I bet what.
And so it took us a long time to put it together, but it was a very different at the time, a very different kind of a record for us.
There's no doubt. It still is. And like I said, it's been sampled so many times, and it's just a beautiful song, man. It's just
thank you so much.
It really is. Tommy, during your heyday, did you guys did you ever spend any time or live part of the time out in California?
Yes, I did. Sure.
I figured you did.
I did. I lived out in L.A. for a while, and we did 2 albums out at Fantasy. I say we. I was solo by that time, but. Sure. I did 2 albums out in the Bay Area, San Francisco, and so. But I was just curious. We're doing a movie,
Yeah, you just said that, so I'm anxious to hear about it. I wanted to ask you about that. Or is it your life story, or you and a Shondell? What's the movie?
Well, a little bit of both. I put out a book. Martin Fitzpatrick and I wrote it. It's been out for about 10 years, called Me, the Mob, and the Music.
Yes.
And it's about our, 3/4. It's an autobiography with about 3/4 of it devoted to our very crazy and tumultuous and sometimes scary relationship with Roulette Records.
Yes.
Tommy, it's a great read, man. It is a great read.
Well, thank you. And the reason it was scary and tumultuous is because, unbeknownst to us, when we signed with Roulette, we learned incrementally that Roulette was a front for the Genovese crime family in New York.
That's right.
And we had no idea. And we learned pretty quickly, though, who we were dealing with.
Who was that?
So anyway, while we were Hanky Panky and Mony Mony and all that stuff, behind us was this very dark and sinister story that we couldn't talk about.
Who was the head of? Was that Mo Levy?
Morris Levy.
Yeah.
And he was every bit a thug, but he was the head of Roulette Records. And these guys would come up and hang out at Roulette like it was a social club. They loved the action up there.
Yeah, of course.
We'd meet somebody in Morris's office. He'd introduce us to one of his friends, and a week later we'd see him on TV in handcuffs, being taken out of a warehouse somewhere in Jersey.
Yeah, there's our manager.
The guy we just met.
Yeah, that's our manager. That's our manager right there.
It's pretty bad when the only photographs you can find of your the executives at your record company are their mugshots.
Oh man, yeah. But okay. I'd love to see that. That movie's being made. That's good, man. That's good.
And it's going to be. It's being produced by Barbara DeFina, who produced Goodfellas.
Oh yeah, I know Barbara.
And
I know Barbara DeFina.
Casino.
Yes, good actor. Oh, yeah, she works a lot with Nick Pileggi, who's also a friend.
Yes,
and Nick
Martin Scorsese.
Yeah,
was her husband.
Yes, she was.
And she's a hell of a producer.
Yes, she is. Powerhouse.
And she's about 5 feet tall. Looks like a librarian. You never in a million years figure her for making these movies. But at any rate, the bottom line is that we're talking about another 18 months, 2 years, and they're in the casting phase right now. And
did they tell you who they're looking for, who to play you? Who they look to get the sign to play you?
Yeah, I think Walter Brennan. Well, I don't know.
I know.
You know, this is one thing I got to leave to the grown-ups because,
yes.
Honest to God, what's interesting though is so many of the young male stars, movie stars, started out in rock bands.
Yes.
So a lot of them know how to play and sing.
Yeah. That's
and
fact.
So, you know, but it's very important because you can't do lip syncs anymore after the Ray Charles movie.
No. Well, but because he's saying. I mean, look, that's one thing. He was a hell of a musician, Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx could. Right, you can't. Right.
Jamie Foxx actually not only sang, but he looked like Ray Charles.
Yeah. What he did in mannerisms, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Yeah. That was one of the greatest performances I ever saw, ever.
That's right.
And not only is he talented, but I mean, just that performance, man. You were looking at Ray Charles. Charles. So
anyway, he raised the bar so far that you got to have people actually playing and singing. So they've got to. The challenge is going to be they got to find somebody who plays guitar as badly as I do. That isn't going to be easy.
No. Tommy, I can't tell you what a thrill it is to be able to talk to you. I tell you, like I said, I fell in and out of love with your songs. You know,
well, thank you.
And they were a big part of my growing up, my early life, and such a pleasure to talk to you. I'm gonna try. I'm looking forward to coming out there to your show.
Don't be a stranger.
Yes. Thank you again for being on the Boom Boom Room.
Thank you so much. God bless.
You too, my friend. Thank you so much.
Bye
bye.
What a legend. Thank you, Tommy James. Saturday night, December 6th, you will see him at the Robbins Theater with the Shondells. Hit after hit, all on one night. Get your tickets right now exclusively at robbinstheater.com. That's robbinstheater.com. Get out, relive the magic of Tommy James and the Shondells. Saturday night, December 6th at the Robbins Theater. Ladies and gentlemen, you're on the Boom Boom Room with the champ, Ray Mancini. 1240 WBBW 96.7 WLLF.